Sherry, did you want a chair?
No, I'm okay.
And Mrs. Larson.
Mrs. Larson?
Thank
We
you.
have
My
extra
first
chairs.
name- No, I'm okay, because we're gonna just be here kind of in the beginning, so.
She's at a lot
We're
of
not staying for the
caffeine
whole
today.
So we're okay.
It's funny how most of our presenters come
Come and go.
quickly. Apparently we don't keep anyone's attention.
Where should we stick this in at?
If we read it in front, so,
Right here?
yeah, right in between open comments and consent agendas.
How you doing, Eddie?
Awesome. What is that?
Can you all call you Eddie?
Really?
My nickname
Wow.
growing up was Eddie Compliance.
Wow.
Sorry, Dr. Richard. Start something there.
I think you did.
Yeah. I didn't go this year.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sign into iTunes. Oh, thank you. I was just under it. I noticed when I opened it up.
We get everything sorted out.
I got advanced time. All right, we can start the meeting. Call the meeting to order. Let's start with pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Under the meeting agenda tonight, I'd like to add the elementary presentation. We'll have that right after the opportunity for visitors to address the board. Are there any other changes? Okay.
I move to approve the agenda as changed.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second to approve the new agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. At this time, there's an opportunity for visitors to address the board. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to the elementary presentation, Mrs. Larson.
Okay,
Would you have your people introduce themselves?
I will do that. I am Sherry Larson. I am a fifth grade teacher at Viking Elementary School, and I brought some fifth graders with me, and they'll introduce themselves. Go ahead.
I'm Braden Hankus. My mom's a teacher, my dad's a vet. I'm Zohar Farah, and my mom is with and my dad works at I'm Lydia Thomas. My dad works at Lake Region, and my mom works in Lake as a physical therapist. Hi, I'm Brianna Anderson. My mom is a superintendent, and my dad works at Lakeland General Store.
Okay, and we are very excited to be here. We're going to talk about some different uses that we have been using with our iPads this year, and new technology and different things that we're kind of trying out. What we thought we would do is kind of have the kids kind of get into with groups of 3, and then they'll show you some different things on their iPads. If you have any questions while they're talking, showing you things, go ahead and ask, and then at the end we'll take a few questions. But I hear we have about 5 minutes, so feel free to cut us off when you need to. So Braden, I'm going to have you come on over here. If you want to go in between these guys, right over here, about 3 of these people right there, you guys can gather around, okay? Right over this way. Try to go right in here.
Color shed.
However that works. Come on over here.
Are you sure?
I'm going to have you sit right here by Dr. Richardson. If you guys want to gather around a little bit right here. Bree, I'm going to have you go with these guys right here. So,
How are you? Did you want to sit down?
a little chair here. Or we're going to kind of show what you have. So you
Start when you're ready.
One have double screen or have me a ton of different screens. And go to assist. Go to backgrounds. Just have classroom. And then automatically puts it in there. And you can have characters. And I'm just gonna each screen. And then you can put
You have no internet here?
and also
On to the
put
next
the
page.
I wish I could make my
Thank
computer work.
Read Daddy's out front.
My shop is perfect in the house.
I have to update my router because it dials down every day and dials down. But today, I moved and I uploaded about 9 picture files. I just, it would take one folder, so we had 9 tables, sometimes we still have to pause it during the day. Before, I got 9 folders, each averaging probably 30 minutes.
Did you get?
During work,
Did
and it
you
didn't
get,
interrupt.
DSL?
I got the full.
You're good, what do you guys?
Deal. How did they decide where
Unless
to
you guys have any
run
questions or anything.
It was just how it all fit together.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
that? Yeah, I can understand.
No.
All right, let us move on to the consent items as follows. Consent items, A, approve board minutes of regular meeting from October 15th, 2018. B, financial claims, October bills. C, the treasurer's report. D, accept the following donations to the Viking Elementary LREC, Jeans Day, September, $121. Independent School District 548, the Bell Bank custom cards, $25 to Viking Elementary for milk rates. Central Lutheran Church Women, $400. To the class of 79 scholarships, Laura Hagan, $20. To the class of 79 scholarships, Carol Schmaltz, $100. To the class of 79 scholarships, Rodney and Susan Simmons, $50. Personnel, hire Amanda Erickson as long-term sub-para from 11/2 to 12/21. Hire Marlos Evansviller as long-term counselor from January 1st to February 7th. Approve the memorandum of agreement with U of M Crookston for 2018-19 for CIHS. Anything we need to add to that?
Remind me again what CHIS is.
College and high school.
That's what I was gonna guess.
They forgot the T. That threw you off, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, approve the consent items.
I'll second.
Motion and second is made. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Let's move on to the business items. Business item A, approve the resolution canvassing returns of votes for school district general election. Is there something we need to read for that? Resolution.
Resolution. I'll pop it up on the screen.
Is it here?
Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 548. It's hereby found, determined, and declared that the general election of the voters of the district held on November 6, 2018 was in all respects duly and legally called and held, as specified in the attached abstract and return of votes, a total of however many votes, what that is.
Website yet.
Of the district voted as said election of 3 school board members for 4-year term vacancies on the board caused by expiration of term on the first Monday in January next following the general election as follows. Charlie Blix, 1,167. Jessica Fay, 1,274. Dina Johnson, 1,203. Brittany Docken, 1,291. Greg Larson, 1,344. Brenda Olson, 1,334. Greg Larson, Brenda Olson, and Brittany Docken, having received the highest number of votes, are elected to 4-year terms beginning the first Monday in January 2019. The school district clerk is hereby authorized to certify the results of the election to the county auditor of each county in which the school district is located in whole or in part.
Do we have any discussion on this before we resolve? I'd just like to say that we're really happy that we've got 3 new board members. And I don't think there's any winners or losers here. There's just some new folks on the board with a lot of work to do. So I'm really encouraged, and for all those folks that didn't vote for me, my wife thanks you. So with that, Ann, how do you resolve?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Okay, the resolution has passed.
Here's another one.
Okay. Approve the resolution authorizing issuance of certificates of election and directing school district clerk to perform other election-related duties. And is that on the next page? Okay, whereas the board has canvassed the general election for school board members held on November 6, 2018. Now therefore be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 548, State of Minnesota as follows. 1, the chair and clerk are hereby authorized to execute certificates of election on behalf of the School Board of Independent School District 548 to the following candidates: A, Greg Larson, B, Brenda Olson, and C, Brittany Docken, who have received a significantly large number of votes to be elected to fill vacancies on the board caused by expiration of terms on the first Monday in January next following the election, based on the results of the canvass. 2, the certificate of election shall be substantially the form attached hereto. 3, after the time of contesting the election is passed and the candidate has filled all campaign financial reports required by this Minnesota statutes chapter 211A, the clerk of the school board is hereby directed to deliver the certificates to the persons entitled thereto personally or by certified mail. And 4, the clerk is hereby directed to enclose with the certificate a form of acceptance of office and oath of office in substantially the form attached hereto. Ann, how do you resolve?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Resolution passes. Let's move on to business item C, accept the resignation of Marley Hudson as ELL para effective 12/31/18. I have a letter that I'll read. It's addressed to Mr. Korf and Mrs. Anderson. I'm writing to inform you that I will retire from my position as ELL paraprofessional at Thunder Rapids High School effective December 31st, 2018. I began my work in Pelican Rapids as a substitute teacher in the fall of 2008. I took the position of paraprofessional in the ELL. The staff at Pelican Rapids High School is an amazing group with which to work. Their support of one another and their genuine concern and care for each individual student is commendable. The administrative staff works very hard to do all they can to accommodate, facilitate an optimal learning environment. My best wishes for continued growth and leadership, and it is true, our differences drive our greatness. Respectfully, Marley Odyssey.
I move to approve the resignation of Marilee Otteson. Second.
A motion is second to be made. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we've got a number of second readings of policies. Policy 209, 210, 213, and 215. We'll turn that over to our superintendent.
I have nothing additional, the policies remain as they were when we presented them last month. 209, the Code of Ethics, significant changes in rewording in relationship to board responsibilities. I strongly encourage the new board members to take a look at 209, 210, 213, and 215 because they all are in connection to their roles and their responsibilities and how we function as a board collectively. But other than that, 215 is a new policy to the district, bringing student representative to the board. Remember, they are non-voting board members, but they will otherwise act as board members. They take part in the conversation and discussion that we have, and an opportunity for them to experience what political environments can look like and how boards function.
Okay.
I move to approve the second reading of the following policies, 209, 210, 213, and 215.
I'll second.
Motion is second has been made. Read by Dina. All those, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion D carries. E, approve the first reading of the following policies, policy 301 and 302.
301 and 302 are in relationship to the principal evaluation. There's not a significant change in practice, but it's a significant change in the language of the policy where historically it just said that principals will be evaluated. State requirement is that principals are evaluated annually, so pulling out that annual piece, and that's in the policy, but it's not, it's a practice that has been in place. Principals have been evaluated annually in Pelican Rapids, but just want to note that. That's why we're asking for a first read, both on 301 and 302, in reference that the superintendent evaluates or designate that the superintendent makes to evaluate.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of policies 301 and 302.
Second.
Motion is second has been made to approve the first reading of policy 301 and 302. Any discussion? I would assume that, you know, you guys have a policy committee and you go through all these things, right?
Yes, yeah, we went through the, all of these, there's nothing, these are, like I said, like, Ms. Anderson said, not really different from what practices, but the wording changed, so, and they're listed on our website too, so.
I just wanted to clarify that for the people who might be watching, so you don't think I'm doing our due diligence on this stuff. So. All right, motion is second made, discussion's been had. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Let's move on to F. Approve the first and second readings of the following policies, policies 303, 304, 305, and 306.
So just to remind people, when there is not a significant change in policy, in other words, it is either a mandate by the state, so it's not an optional component, or it's just a small wording change, we can approve, we can read and approve the policies in a first and second read. So the following policies are just that. In 303, it's changing, instead of saying board to district in the selection of the superintendent. In 304, there's no changes other than instead of saying periodically evaluate the superintendent, it's an annual evaluation of the superintendent. 305, policy implementation, no change other than to reflect a current date of the review of the policy. And 306, capitalizing the word Code of Ethics. So they're minor changes to policy, but we want to get them updated. Remember that our goal this year is to get through all of our policies so that they are all current and up to date with MSBA. So we're chunking them out month by month, taking 300, so next month will be 400, so on and so forth.
Quick question for you, which policy had the annual superintendent annual review?
302, section B.
Okay, I just was, oh, there it is, okay.
And that's evaluate principal annually, not superintendent. We added the component to the superintendent one. That was 304.
That's the one I was, that's the one I was
Sorry.
looking at, because it's not the right one.
that change didn't get adjusted in the
Doesn't look like it.
document, okay. Well, Barb, will you please note that on policy 304, that needs to be changed from periodically to annual?
Oh, yes, it is, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I just could not find it. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the first and second readings of 303, 304, 305, and 306.
We'll second.
Motion is, second has been made to approve first and second readings of policy 303, 304, 305, and 306. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now we're gonna move on to approve the ADMs for the 2018-19 budget revision. And Superintendent Anderson has some information about that.
So we have historically, as a district, approved the ADMs that help us build the 2020 budget. And so what you have in front of you on the left-hand side of the column is the historical practice that we used for generating the ADMs. And if you remember right, we had a very conservative approach to coming up with the ADMs. We did not count our handicapped kindergarten, we did not include our ECFE students, and we subtracted one from every grade level. That allowed us to make sure that we were staying within our budget parameters and we wouldn't have overages more than what was already predicted.
I haven't seen that, what the.
So what you don't have, Dina, is the left-hand side, the little component. And I can just give you mine.
Well, it doesn't matter what he does, so.
I got it.
And so you don't have the historical piece, the left-hand side of the way that we have historically counted the ADMs, but you do have the big component that was in your board packet piece. That is an ADM report, a MARS report out of MDE. And that's a report that we submit data to MDE on a monthly basis, keeping an accurate count of our student enrollment. So the students that are sitting in our seat are the students that we report. And so if you take a look at the column, let me see if I can, there we go. So if you take a look here at the column total served, those are the students that are sitting in our district, our early childhood students, our handicapped students, and students by every grade level. When you take a look at the bottom of the total served, you'll see that we have 874 students that were total served, but then that's adjusted to 870. That adjustment is because you have kids coming in and out all the time. And so the piece to remember when we're looking at average daily membership is that we're hitting a target that is a constant moving target. So for those of you that are deer hunters, we know that sometimes we can hit the target dead on, right? And sometimes we miss the target. And I share that because what we want to do inside of budget forecasting is to ensure that we hit the target to the best of our ability. And so having conversations with Mr. Martinez, conversations with Mark to say what does Pelican Rapids need to do to forecast and to move this forward. We're recommending that we shift from an extremely conservative approach to a little less conservative approach and operating with so if our average daily membership right now is coming in at 870, we're proposing, and we want you guys to decide today, kind of have a conversation about what your thoughts are, that we would run off of 860. So we would take 10 students off for the mobility component, for the in and out of students inside of the district, not looking at 870, because if we have 3 kids move out in December, we're counting revenue that we won't have. So giving us a little bit of a cushion, but not as much of a cushion in the past practice model, which would mean that we'd be running off of a number of 847. Mark, Rudy, anything to add on that?
I think you described it pretty well. One of the reasons we want to move to actual ADMs so we can have a better projection of the revenue that's coming in. The 10 student that we're trying to subtract this so we can have that safety net like Ms. Anderson proposed in case any students move in or out of the district, just so at the end of the year, there's no adjustments and there's any surprises in our revenue.
So do you think this is gonna be more accurate? I mean, the one we've had before, it's a system we used for what, 12 years. Nobody says it was the right system, but it was the one we used, and it always was so conservative, we got to put more money. Which is great,
Yes.
but you know, you also wanna be realistic, especially when you get to when you start laying people off because, you think you're having financial trouble.
Well, the other option, or the advantage of doing it this way is you now have a system where somebody's actually going back in and checking the MARs and making sure that the numbers are correct, whereas before you had this kind of two sets of books type of thing going on. And it's more, you're more dependent on the numbers on the right-hand side there that she's showing for their funding. And it's, whether you do 10 or 20 or 30 really doesn't matter as long as you got it in your head, but just make sure that we tie something to that report there, because then we have consistency.
And you work in Fergus Falls, is that similar to the one you use there?
Yeah, I use the exact same report.
And how's it been historically?
Well, pretty good.
Pretty good.
We went from statutory operating debt, which is bad, that's bankruptcy,
Right.
to having a 20% fund balance. And it was just a matter of making sure that the numbers are being counted, somebody's watching the correct numbers.
So, but the number that you end up with at the end of the year compared to your projections have been pretty close?
Fairly close, yeah. Yeah, it's fairly close. Again, it really boils down to watching the correct numbers. And I'd rather you look at something that's got some basis in your enrollment and is computerized, is tied to your revenue, rather than another number that's just up there. But yeah, we've been fairly close. The other aspect of this, of course, is with every budget is not only the revenue side, but the expenditure side. And from here, you're going to then develop your expenditure side of things. And that's more important to watch even than this. So.
Obviously. So, are we looking for a motion to change the system, or?
Do we need a motion to change the system?
No, I
We
just
need
think
to
we just
accept
need,
the ADMs.
I think we just need some shakes of the head is what we
Yes.
need, yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense.
So,
For budget revision, do we need to approve a different ADM?
So,
No?
so the question on the table is, do we want to run with the MARS report, which is a closer picture to what we have for ADMs, or do you want to continue past practice with a very conservative approach, and looking for you to determine which approach you would like us to use moving forward?
okay, so the question isn't whether we pick a specific ADM number. It's, okay, so I'm uncomfortable with that, because ADMs move. That's just from past practices, I think it needs to be a little more concrete than just whatever Mars is. Because that makes, if all of a sudden we do either have an influx or a, exit
I'll go.
of significant numbers, that's a moving target for your budget. And as someone who budgets herself, on a smaller scale, but that's difficult. I think it still needs to be a little more concrete, but I don't know, maybe,
I guess we're just looking for a tone in which what kind of information that we'll use for developing the budget.
I'm okay with using Mars, but I just, I don't know how often this changes, is this, how often do you pull this report? Quarterly, monthly, daily, weekly? I have no idea.
Well, what we're gonna do in the budgeting side for next year is we're gonna take this number and evaluate it to make sure that 860 is the number that we're talking about. and then we're gonna build our budget thereafter based on 860. We could
Okay.
get to June and find out another report shows us at 850, and we may have to make some last minute adjustments to our budget.
Yep.
Or it could show it at 870, and then we could bank it or make another adjustment to the budget. But at least it's a starting point for us. And I guess what we're really asking for is, how accurate do you want your budget to be? And we're saying we think we can be a little more accurate using the Mars information.
So we
Okay,
are
that's
looking at a
good.
concrete number here to start.
More of a basis. I have a tendency to believe the other numbers were based upon going around the classrooms and counting how many heads there were. And the other side is constant data, like Randy said, it's being uploaded every month. And it's tied to a system that you're funded for, whereas the other data is not tied to any kind of funding, it's just a number. See what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to build accountability here, and I think that's what Randy and Rudy want as well. Is just, if we come and say down the road, here's how many kids, we have a document that we can produce that shows it and it's verified, we can go right back to the classroom, show how many of them they're there, how many of them are in Fergus attending some other class or whatever, versus how did you get the number on the left? So, does that help? Okay.
Well, I like the idea of having I think, less doom and gloom and maybe a more accurate, closer to
And it's nice to be tied to something we actually are paid on.
yes.
Yeah.
I trust your judgment.
Thank you.
Today.
Today.
So
I'll talk to you in January.
if I were to make a motion to approve the ADMs per the Mars report, would that cover, or would you?
No, I'm not even looking for a motion, I'm just, like I
Oh,
say,
we
I'm
need a
just.
we need a motion.
If you want a motion, fine, but I guess we're just looking for an understanding.
We're just looking to approve the ADMs for
So, and we're just
I
trying to get
I
a
make
feel
a
for what
motion.
you're gonna do in the future.
Correct.
to approve the ADMs for the 18-19 budget revision.
Per
That's
the,
all we need.
per the Mars
Per the
report.
Mars.
Do we need per the Mars report?
Yes, because
I
you
think
either,
so.
in my opinion, you either need a number.
So
Per
it's
the Mars
clear.
report.
Yep.
Okay, I have a question before we vote.
We have a second though.
Oh, sorry.
Are you
Second,
seconding it?
yes.
Okay. All right, now we can have discussion.
What's the 870 then? I mean, I
The
see it on the
870 is
chart,
where you're at right now.
and that's what we're starting with, and then we'll make
Well,
adjustments
that's what
as
this
Mars
report
tells
says.
us.
That's what this report says. I think really what Randy's asking for is a 10-person under counting,
So-
cushion.
Deviation.
So we're looking at.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this report and try to project it into the future. Because we may have a higher or lower class size at the kindergarten level than we do at the secondary level. We'll make that adjustment, and maybe it'll come in at 850. And when we do that, maybe we'll come in with a budget for 10 students less.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at. But right now, that number sits at 870. Okay?
Got it.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table to approve the ADM for the Mars report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, move on to H, schedule a work session to discuss the budget, possibly the December 12th at 6 p.m. When I talked to Randy about this, what we wanted to do was see if we could get two new board members in on that work session. And kind of a transition type thing, give you an opportunity to ask some of the outgoing board members questions you have about how we've done things in the past.
Sorry, just putting it in.
We haven't done it yet.
That's right. You know, we haven't had,
Saved it yet.
you know, it's kind of a unique situation. We're
Interesting.
having half of our board turn over, and we'd really like this thing to be as smooth as possible and get you guys up to speed as fast as we can, so. We would like to offer an opportunity for us to meet and for you three new board members to sit down with us and just figure out what's going on.
I can't speak for the others, but it can work for me.
Okay. What's the
Sure,
rest of the
works,
board?
yeah, it works.
Okay. I'm sure it will, but.
Did we change that policy committee meeting already?
We talked about that if we moved to the work session, we were gonna bump the policy, right? I don't have the exact.
I don't remember that conversation, but we probably did.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, the 12 will work fine for me.
yeah.
Well, I guess with that, make a
Send
motion,
that out.
make a motion to schedule a budget work session on 12/12 at 6 p.m.
second.
Any discussion?
Can we add strategic planning too?
Sure, Steve, whatever you wanna call it.
No, both of, I mean, I'd like to kind of talk about the next steps for where we need to go as a district with the strategic plan and then the budget piece. We should have the audit information by then, so it'd be a good time to be able to do those two pieces. So we have 12/12 at 6 p.m.
That's the plan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approve the world's best workforce plan. Is Brian here to talk about that, or what do you wanna do on
We're,
this?
Brian, Derek, can you text him? We pushed it to the last, part of the agenda in hopes that he could be here. He has another meeting that he's at right now. I'm gonna go and get started, cause his part is at the very end of the world's best workforce piece, so hopefully that we can move through our pieces and then he'll be able to join us at that time. If not, I can cover it for him, but, hopefully that's kind of where we're at. So we have the narrative report is what you have historically seen at the board, in the board documents, and it's the document that I put in, the board packet. What I did is turned it into a formal presentation so that kind of helps pull out the key highlights of the world's best workforce and the achievement integration summary, where we are as a district, and capturing the work that we did last year. Just kind of a brief summary, this world's best workforce and AI are Minnesota statute that are requirements for districts to align and focus on closing achievement gap, ensuring that all students are successful, and ultimately aligning your resources to your identified priorities inside of your district. There are 5 goals. The first goal is all children are ready for school. The second goal is all 3rd graders can read at grade level. 3, all racial and economic achievement gaps between students are closed. I'll just put a little plug in there. We have some great celebrations on our increasing achievement. All students are ready for career and college, and all students graduate from high school. So those are the 5 goals, state expectations, and then each district creates their own SMART goals. And at this point in time, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Richardson to talk about the early childhood program and all kids ready.
All right. The early childhood, if you look at our goals for all children ready for school, end of preschool, we wanted our goal was 85% of students demonstrating mastery of school readiness, math, English, language arts, essential learning objectives, ELOs, and we use work sampling system for that. And what we had at the end of last year was 35 out of 39, nearly 90%, 89.7% of students were assessed as proficient using the work sampling. And that's 87%. And then when we look at our kindergarten, the goal was for 85% of students to have benchmark in literacy using Ames Web and math using AVMR. What we ended up with toward that goal, 87% of kindergarten students using match pairs. When I say match pairs, I'm talking the students that took the initial benchmark and their scores in the spring benchmark. Rather than, because sometimes you could have a student that was here at the beginning, but not at the end. We want to make sure that we're matching their growth. So 87% of those students benchmarked per Ames Web and phonemic segmentation fluency during the spring benchmark. And with math, with the AVMR, we had 91% of our kindergartners benchmarking in Board number sequence, which was one of our big hitters for those guys. So they might start at the number 9, count on from there. So then they have to go 9, 10, 11, 12. And then they might, okay, 87, start at 87 to count up. And then 88% of our kindergartners benchmarked in the backward number sequence, same sort of thing. During the assessment, students would be given a number, and then they'd be asked to start to count backwards. And what it really demonstrates is that their understanding of number to, I believe, 120 is what they worked on. So, any questions on that? Okay. And then one of our other pieces was all third graders can read at grade level. And our goal, you can see there, was to increase from 43% using MCA and our STAR reading proficiency, go from 43% in 2017 to 50% in the spring of 2018. And what you can see there is we went from that 43.3% in spring 2017 up to 64.4%. So that was a pretty good increase, I'd say. That we're very proud of the work that all of our team has done. Not only our third grade teachers, but from pre-K on up, that all helped to build the work of our special ed teachers, ADSIS teachers, our interventionists. They just have done a great job of developing those skills or helping our students develop those skills.
Remember what research will tell us about third grade, that the likelihood if they are at or above grade level in third grade, we got an 80% chance of keeping them at grade level. So this will just continue to move up the ladder as we continue to move forward. So great job with our students and staff.
Tremendous. Any questions on that? Oh, I'll stay for this one too.
Absolutely.
I like standing. Closing the achievement gap among our student groups. The VEBES will close our achievement gap as demonstrated by proficiency in MCA, STAR, and Ames Web from spring 2017 to 2018. And you can see what I would like to do is looking at comparison with the state. Our reading MCAs, you can see we increased all of our student groups, and overall we increased by 6.1% compared to the state, which had some decreases. But all of our student groups had some very good growth. And then in math, our student groups, it was a bit of a mixed bag. When we look at our MCA reading, and we partly attribute that to the collaborative work of our staff, our WIG the last couple of years. This last year has been to read 1.5 million pages, and they exceeded that, which was tremendous. This year, our school-wide WIG is to master 15,000 math skills per IXL, and we're making great progress with that. And hopefully we can turn that trend around. We are still above the state average by over 8%, but it would be great to bump over 70% for this upcoming year. So that's really where we're looking to roll and focus on that piece. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
So Dr. Richardson was talking about how we close the achievement gap, and I just wanted to share this information because I'm really excited as we take a look at this. This isn't about closing achievement gap, this is looking at our subgroup performance and the increase in achievement over time that we've had in our 3 significant subgroups. So if you take a look at this is our African American. On the left-hand side you have the math, and on the right-hand side you have the reading. So if you look from 2015 to 2018, we've taken our overall performance of our African Americans from 21% to 53% as a district. And that just goes to say kudos to the intervention programs that we put into place in the system, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we have significantly increased that overall performance in both reading and math with our African American population. Kudos to our staff. The Hispanic side, again, we've had nice growth there. Anytime you see more than a 5% increase in growth, you have a nice amount of growth, and you're moving individual students as you take a look at this. So again, Hispanic reading and math, over the last 4 years, we've had increases. And then lastly, with our free and reduced lunch population, which we as a district sit at about 50% of our students are free and reduced lunch, we are having nice gains there in both reading and math. Those gains go to the intervention systems, as I mentioned earlier. At the elementary level, we have an amazing tiered intervention system where our teachers come together and have conversations on a monthly basis about what students are doing, how they're doing, and then they, correct me if I'm wrong here, Dr. Richardson, but they do flexible grouping, and so they adjust, and that is huge when we think about intervention systems, because so often what happens in the system is if I get slotted into a tier 2 intervention, I'm there for the rest of the year. And that's one of the pieces, and I think why we see the gains that we're seeing is that they will move kids in and out of intervention groups based on data and based on need. So it's just absolutely wonderful.
Can I ask a quick question on your previous slide?
This one, yeah.
Or the next one, yeah. There, that one.
Yep.
Was this the free and reduced? No, the previous
This
one.
is African American, this
Okay.
is Hispanic,
Yeah, free and reduced.
this is free and
That's
reduced.
what I mean,
Yep.
okay. So in the report, the numbers are different. The percentages are different, and I'm just curious if that's something.
So this is percentage overall proficiency, and inside of the report, it's closing gaps. So it is different.
Oh,
And that's what when I front loaded this and said I wanted to share this,
Yep, yep.
because this is overall proficiency, and in the report, we talked about closing gaps.
got it, okay,
Yep,
yeah.
good question,
Yep.
very good question, thank you. Anything else? So this was just a great
Bonus.
bonus and a celebration for what we've done as a district and
Absolutely.
the growth that we have across our subgroups. And this is everybody, so this is everybody that takes FCA, it's not elementary, it's not high school, it's rolling all of our students together, and it's also rolling all of our students together.
That's awesome.
So the other piece, this is what sits inside of the report, the access data. We had at the elementary level, we wanted our students, at the elementary, we wanted 70% of our students to improve one level. We had 89% of our students improve. At the high school, we were shooting for 50. We had 66% of our students succeed. Again, going back to the intervention systems that we have in place, at the high school level, we had 100% of our students who needed the Read 180 support, which is a research-based, significantly effective program for closing gaps for students. We were able to serve all of those students in that course. The other piece that we know is the random reading component, and at the high school level, we had 100% of our students reading twice a month in class. Anytime we have those opportunities to do reading, to reinforce what's going on, it supports and increases that overall achievement. And at that point, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Core. Put you on the spot, thank you.
Alright. All students will graduate in 2017, our goal is 90% of PRHS students will graduate in 4 years. We had 82.3%. And then 70% will participate in after-school activities. We were just short of that at 65%. And then credit checks will be completed once a year for students in grades 9 through 12. We actually do that more than once a year. We do that in the summertime, and then we do that at the end of semester 1, where we go through and check to see who needs to make up classes, things like that. Looking at going over to the side there, what do we have? We have the statewide.
Yep.
Okay.
States at the top and districts at the
Yep, so we were right below state average there. For 2017, we were at 82.3, like we said before, and state average was 82.7. So we've ranged from, I'm just kind of going back here a little bit. We've ranged from 80% to 93% of graduation rate in our school district at the high school. And we set our goal this year for 90%. The reason why we want to be 90%, number one, we want to be above state average, but two, we've been over 90% before, so we've been at 93%. So we set our goal this year at 90%. Some of the things that we're putting in for is credit check, parent meetings, our summer school. Our ALC has been effective with this. Students needing credit recovery for like 1 hour. It's been nice for them to be going to their high school classes, but then when they need to make up a credit, they can go to the ALC and do that for 1 hour right here on campus. So that's been nice. Parent-teacher conferences, we're trying to make a bigger push of encouraging parents to go. We have parent-teacher conferences here on Monday, and we had 50% of our parents, grade 7 through 12. Well, that's pretty good if you look at, if you compare to recent years. So, and then what we've done is we've done a student list, and we list everything that they need to complete yet, and anything that they're falling behind in. So that's been good too. And then we list their MCA scores, so we can kind of monitor their MCA scores and see if we need to get them in any classes to help them out. Read 180 program has been to help the MCAs out. Our Read 180, I'm going to go back to what Ms. Anderson said before. Our Read 180 program has been awesome here. Well spent money there. So, questions with that?
The
Sorry?
graduating class of 2017 is a very small class as well. So losing even one student would be quite a large.
Good job.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions with graduation? All students, college and career ready. What we do here is we do a number of things, and really Mrs. Siebels does a great job of running a lot of the things that we have to get kids ready for college and career. Our goal is that 100% of students will take the ASVAB, and the results for 2018, 100% of our students did take the ASVAB, and then 100% of our juniors who are college bound will take the ACT. And we had all the students that were going to go to a college take the ACT, which is nice, was we can offer here right now, so that is a benefit for us. So I think we offer so many different things. You know, we sat down with Mrs. Siebels. You know, it all starts in 7th grade. And in 7th grade, they do a career exploration, work skills, study skills. She goes into the classes and works with the 7th graders. In 8th grade, she discusses college and careers already at 8th grade, and she has them create a dream plan of what they want to do when they're done with high school. And then starting in 9th grade, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, she takes them to career fairs, health fairs. Like for example, we just went to Detroit Lakes, and now our sophomores are going to Fargo here at the end of November. They're going to NDSU for a career fair. So she does a great job of doing that. And then she has individual meetings with them too, between 9th through 12th, and for some, more than one, of course, and helps them kind of prepare for what their future plans are for college or career. The students are going into college, they really meet with her probably once their junior year with colleges, probably once or twice a year, individually. So they get a lot of individual attention. And then we also host our own career fair here. And we usually do that in the fall, but with Mrs. Siebels being a little bit busier this fall with her baby, she just had her baby, and we're gonna have that in the spring this year, so maybe we'll change there. So great opportunities for students to explore, find interest in what they would like to do when they get older.
And moving on, this just recaps all of the components that we have inside of each one of the goals that support us getting to the achievement levels that we have. At the elementary level and at the high school level, our teachers meet, have conversations about what the data is looking like for each individual students, and then adjusting their instructional platform based on the student needs. At the district, at the elementary level, we have targeted services for our students who are underperforming, giving them an opportunity, I call it like the second shot, for them to be able to come in, get additional support, get homework help, to help close that gap for them. At the high school level last year, we were able to offer Monday programming and after-school programming. I think one of the real effective pieces that we're able to do is peer tutoring. Research will tell you that students learn better from their peers than they do from adults. And our students with our leadership program have helped volunteer, and so sitting alongside with a peer in alignment with a staff member supporting them has been very helpful at the secondary level. Some of the district pieces that we're focusing on is the digital citizenship. We've got it out on the website. We've got teachers teaching the content inside of each of their core curriculum classes. As we talked about, it shouldn't be a separate entity over here, but should be infused inside of the classroom. And being in our social studies classrooms this past week, again, you see our teachers having that conversation about appropriate internet use, being able to determine good sources. We had a great piece, and I don't want to steal the showcase, but this morning we had parents in and helping our parents understand what digital citizenship looks like, and how do we as parents continue to inform and educate our students so that they make the right choices. The Leader in Me program, an amazing leadership program that starts out in early childhood and moves all the way through high school, where our students have the opportunity to step up and be leaders inside of the system. Gifted and talented, again, we really get to each student, being able to accelerate pathways, being able to provide enrichment opportunities for kids, so that we have students that are leaving the system. A couple of years ago, we had a high school graduate who graduated from Pelican Rapids High School and will be completing college in 2 years because of the opportunities and choices that he had inside of Pelican Rapids. So that accelerated pathway is there for those students who need that. Staff development is a key component inside of education. We need to be continually learning, and our staff prides themselves and administration in identifying what our needs are, and then figuring out how we can leverage our resources to be able to meet the needs of our staff. Last year we spent a lot of time taking a look at the elementary level and looking at genius hours and maker spaces. High school level, talking about digital citizenship and what that needs to look like inside of our system. World's Best Workforce, we have teacher evaluation and growth plans, principal evaluation and growth plans. These plans have continued for, I think the teacher plan went in place 2-3 years ago.
It was my first year here, so this is the fifth year.
Fifth year, so where non-tenured teachers are evaluated 3 times a year, and tenured teachers are non-tenured or 3 times a year, tenured are once every 3 years. It's really an opportunity for growth. Our principals sit down, have conversations with our teachers and talking about what do they see as their professional development needs, how do we move it forward. The same thing with the principal evaluation. It's more about growth, opportunities for growth based on the core concept, competencies, and principles. We meet 2 to 3 times a year, taking a look at and establishing professional goals, academic goals, and then at the principal level, they do a staff survey to get that immediate feedback. Just to kind of celebrate 2018, we have an amazing school system. Our early childhood program reaches a significant number of our 3- and 4-year-olds that then sets the showcase as we continue to move up. Our multi-tiered support structures at the elementary level, as Dr. Richardson talked about, has helped to close gaps and increase overall performance. For the first time, even if it's just a little bit, we exceed state performance in both reading and math, so kudos to the instructional team, to our parents, and to our community for supporting our students. We've increased, as I shared with you, our subgroup performance overall, starting to bring that overall performance up. This is huge to have read over 1 million pages last year at the elementary level. kids reading create positive readers and readers who can gain information, surf the information, prioritize the information. So the more we can read, the more we can encourage that reading, the better off our overall student academic performance is going to be. And then lastly, Leadership in Me with the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, providing our students with the opportunities to be able to be leaders inside of the community, inside of the organization, and ultimately globally when they walk across our stage as graduates. So with that, is the World's Best Workforce and Achievement Integration Report. We will hold a public meeting next week for the community if they want to come in and hear where we have been and what we've been doing. And then we'll submit the report to MDE in December. Any questions?
I move to approve the World's Best Workforce Plan and Achievement and Integration Summary as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and second has been made to approve the world's best workforce, as stated by Dina. Any discussion?
No, looks good.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So, let's move on to the administration reports.
Okay. As of today, well, and I actually have updated from, because we had a couple new students arrive in the last couple days. We're at 444. We had a kindergartner and a 6th grader arrive, start today. Preschool, we're at 70 students, and Head Start 34. Curriculum instruction and assessment, we had Someplace Safe presentations. They presented 6th through 8th grade, and I want to thank Mr. Korf and for having us come over to be able to work with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, or for our 6th graders too. And then we sort of coordinated to work on that with the Someplace Safe. A lot of good feedback from the teachers on it. Also want to thank Mrs. Steebles for her helping to get that situated as well. Literacy instructional practices, as we've talked about, our learning targets and vocabulary development. We continue working on those practices. Just talk a little bit about as well our Minnesota School of Excellence application. We're working through that. It's centered on six standards: learning-centered, diverse communities, 21st century learners, quality instruction, knowledge and data, and then community engagement. And I met with our leadership team today, and we're just talking about how we're going to work through that process. It's essentially like a school improvement type of process. What we'll do is we sort of go through a rubric. We look at the great things that we're doing, and then we look at a couple areas that we see as areas for us to work on, and we develop an action plan, and that's basically the focus of the Minnesota School of Excellence. But it's a great way for us to be able to celebrate the work of our staff, the work of our students and community. So we're pretty excited about moving forward with that. Our school-wide WIG, which was the VES students, K6 will master 15,000 skills this year, as demonstrated by IXL. And I had in there the update as of last week, but as of today, 2,864 math skills have been mastered thus far. And we've got 43 students that have mastered over 40 skills already this year. And we have one student that's at just under 100. She's got 98 math skills mastered this year, which is pretty, and that's great. Those are grade level skills. It's not a 6th grader saying, oh, let me try a few of the kindergarten ones and amp it up. But no, those are their grade level skills, and that's very awesome. We're working on habit number 5 up until the 17th of December. Seek first to understand, then to be understood, and then we'll follow that up to the 1st of December with habit 6, synergizing, and then December 5th through the 15th, habit 7, sharpen the saw. When what we work on that during those times is really infusing that language into our lessons and the things that we do on a daily basis. Big rocks we've got coming up, well, and as Mrs. Anderson had mentioned, we have pastries with parents today, and Monica Thompson did a great job delivering a bit of information on our on some digital citizenship. I had some students come in, teachers sent some, brought some students in to demonstrate on the iPad, similar to what you all had this morning. And we had over 50 parents there. I was expecting, and I told yesterday, I met with Monica, and she said, how many are you expecting? I said, could be from 5 to 50. And I was thinking really the smaller side, but to have 50 parents arrive, that was just a tremendous thing to see. And we're going to be doing that on a monthly sort of basis in the mornings, and then we'll add some evenings as well. But just a time, and as we evolve this, it'll be more of just having students come in there and sort of sit with parents and look at different things that they're doing technology-wise to support their learning. And so parents can ask questions and learn what our students are doing. And it's great to learn, yep, if I've got a first grade, what my first graders doing, but what are students doing in 6th grade? You know, and see how that progresses. So pretty excited about that. So that was today. We had our picture retakes, Tier 2 collaboration with K3, and then our leadership team meeting. Tomorrow, our 4th grade goes to MSUM for, I believe it's Cat in a Hat. And then our VS science team, we're due to meet, but we're rescheduling that. On the 16th, 2nd and 3rd grade, we'll be going to MSUM for Cat in a Hat. 19th and 20th will be our student-led conferences from 4 to 7. 21st is the end of first trimester in collaboration with grades 4 through 6. 22nd and 23rd, Thanksgiving break. And then December 12th, Tier 2 collaboration, 3rd grade, K3. 14th, Andy's mountain ski trip. And then on the 19th, collaboration grades 4 through 6.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Thank you. Mr. Gore?
Looking at our enrollment, we were at 416 in November here. We did gain 2 students today, and we were gaining 1 more on Monday, so.
Fantastic.
So that is good, yeah. Professional development fall workshop here that we had. We had a speaker come in, Tommy Gonzalez, and helped us understand differences within our students. Mr. Nelson brought in a drug awareness speaker, being proactive, getting our staff educated on vaping, which is kind of new, or newer, it's not brand new, but it's been out there for a while. But speaker is really good to get us aware of how kids can vape in school, out of school, things like that. CPR and choking training we had for the high school staff with Brad Schmidt from Lakes Country, and then we had department meetings, and then we had grades being completed during that time too. So it was a busy day for staff. 7 Habits, drug awareness, staff activity with vaping that Mr. Nelson organized. And then Dr. Richardson talked about Someplace Safe that we had here at the high school that Ms. Siebel's, Dr. Richardson, and Mr. Nelson helped organize, and it was very good for our kids to hear about healthy relationships. Our November habit is seek first to understand, then to be understood. One of the activities that our Student Lighthouse is doing here this week is I'm thankful for, and then the kids fill that out, and then they'll hang them up, things like that around the school. So get our kids to think about what they appreciate. Thankful for. Parent-teacher conferences on Monday from 1 to 7. We had 50% of our students, of our parents of our students show up for conferences. Last spring was 43%. However, last fall we were at 52%. So, but if you look back to the fall of 16, we had 38% of our parents show up for parent-teacher conferences. So we're going back up, which is good. I think if we can be over 50%, if we can get to 60%, that'll be really good. But it was good. We were really pleased. We were steady the whole time. So
So what kind of donuts did you serve, or pastries did you serve? Maybe we can change the cookies to the pastries.
Everything that I found that you could find at Larry's. I cleared the shelves.
How many times did you go back?
Yeah.
We don't get bakery till Friday now.
Minnesota Honor Society, MHS, we had an induction October 28th on that Sunday night, and we inducted 10 new students from C in grades 11 and 12. And then for our college and career ready, like I talked about earlier, we have 10th graders going to career fair on November 29th. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to make a comment about this vaping. Ottawa County was just the first county in the state of Minnesota to raise the tobacco aged from 18 to 21. And I don't know when that goes in effect, but that is effective now, which what they're finding is the 18 to 20-year-olds are providing for the younger kids. And now that there's more of a gap, it will hopefully trickle down and help, so.
Good step in the right direction.
I think so.
Cross country, Abby Severson finished 28th at the state cross country meet.
Awesome.
And the team had a GPA of 3.886.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, right? And so they received the Section Excellent Award for that. Boys, David Johnston finished 58th down at the state tournament. So congratulations those two for their excellent showings. Some all-conference honors here. Boys soccer had 4 all-conference and 1 honorable mention player. Football had 3 all-district players and 3 honorable mentions. And they had 5 players on the academic all-team. And to be on that, you have to have a 3.7 GPA or higher.
Awesome.
So congratulations to them. And volleyball had 3 all-conference players and 1 honorable mention. A lot of these banquets are coming up starting this week, so I don't have names because I don't even, the kids know that they're won these awards yet. And the last thing I have is, if you see Miss Anderson, congratulate her on a great play last weekend. It was excellent, well
Very
done.
good things, yeah.
Kids did a good job, she did a great job directing. I've heard all comments all week from people that it was very entertaining, and just a great play, so they did a nice job with that, so.
My kids went twice.
They wanted to come back, that's a good sign.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
So, business manager, Lee?
Perfect, so, at the end of this period, October 31st, 2018, we had a beginning balance in our investment account of 1.8 million. We withdrew about 500,000, ending balance of 1.2 million. Our construction LTFM account up on our investment section, we now withdrew the last $51 in residual value that grew there. So next quarter, you'll see that account coming up. This time we added our OPEB associated account up there.
Sorry.
These are for retiree benefits, and we're starting to track that a little bit better. In terms of our funds, you can kind of see how they fluctuate. Accounts payable, at the end of this period, we had $675,000 that consists of both on checks and wire payments. We had payroll expenses of $886,000. So at the end of our period, we had $1.3 million in total cash. One thing to note is that we did get our first tax levy payment from Undertale, so that was nice. The 2 accounts that you see there at the bottom, of course, it's our Wells Fargo account. Wells Fargo used to be our old banking institution. We used to house our accounts, so we still have a few accounts left there. Our pay cash, which we'll start trying to figure out what we want to do with it. And then we have our pay school accounts. That is tied to when parents pay for activities or lunch money, it goes there, and then we bring the money into our general fund or to the funds where it's appropriately has to be receipted into. We're still making good progress and cleaning up a lot of our accounts, making sure that we do things more efficiently. We're still on a very good path to continue to do that. Questions regarding this page before I jump on to the next one?
I'll just add that you're at about $2.7 million in funds for the district. Enjoy it while you can, because this is our peak time of the year for funding, with the county money coming in. The state knows that you got this county money and they meter their money accordingly, so things start to slide down. Typically, the end of December is where you reach your low point and then you slowly build back up again. So enjoy it.
Feels good for the moment.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. I have the second page on the report, if you had a chance to take a look at it, simply our pledge collateral, making sure that we have enough money to cover our investment in our accounts, which we do, which is great. Then we go to the remaining pages. We have all the journal entries that we did on page 3. This is simply how we move the cash to adjust for things or to correct a few things that we see. Then we go to page 4, which is again more journal entries to make sure that our books balance. And then we get to all of the payments that were generated this particular period. And Dina, I know you asked that you wanted the report to be where we had the GL accounts. We look into that and it was like 25 different pages long. So we figured we would consolidate.
You and I can just sit down after the budget process and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Questions regarding the treasurer's report this period? Perfect. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Superintendent Anderson?
So just a couple of things. Thank you. I'm thrilled to say that we've been working on the whole early childhood community piece, and we received official notice today that we've received a grant from Trinity Lutheran Church to support the recruitment of 4 individuals to go into the early childhood field. And so the grant will pay for their online courses, and then working with the Children's Corner, offering them part-time positions if we have 4, if we have 2 full-time positions as aides to give them the work experience as they move forward. We've also written a matching grant, sort of matching grant with the West Central Initiative to help offset some of the costs of recruitment and technology and possibly translation, depending upon who is interested in being part of that workforce piece. So I'm really excited to see that move forward as we continue to look at how do we recruit and retain students for Pelican Rapids School District. Another piece that I just want to make public is we will be, as a district, participating in the state survey that goes out every couple of years. The state survey is a Minnesota student survey that will go to our students in grades 5, 8, and high school, and we will communicate with our parents, and they have the option to opt out, and that will be a spring survey that we will be completing. It's something that we have done historically in the past. I have reached out to MSBA to see where we are on the board self-evaluation and waiting to hear from them to see if we have completion or if we still have board members that need to go in and complete that board self-evaluation so that we can move that forward. Again, just kudos to Dr. Richardson and the pastries for parents this morning. It was awesome to see 50 parents and students in the cafeteria learning about digital citizenship and learning about some of the apps. He had 2nd graders in there. It was great. Public thank you to Mrs. Larson's class today, sharing some of the experiences that they are having. And then this is just a plea, congratulations first to our new school board members. We look forward to moving that forward. We really strongly encourage you to get involved in the phase 1 and phase 2 training prior to you being a board member. Being a board member in the state of Minnesota is a complex piece when we look at our finances and we look at our policies. So we've communicated out phase 1 and phase 2. We have training in the area December 4th and December 8th. So looking to recruit you for that. And then we also have an opportunity in January that the board goes to the MSBA Leadership Conference in the cities. And if the December dates don't work, there are 2, phase 1 and phase 2 is offered pre-leadership conference. So just putting that out there to really strongly encourage participation in that. And that is all that I have in the superintendent report, so thank you.
In the past, we've always allowed the business manager to go to the conference too, where we
Rudy is attending.
Interested?
He's attending.
All right.
Yep.
Good deal.
Yeah, and I can't, yeah, I would encourage everyone to, even if you can go for one day, at the leadership conference, it is a fantastic
It's like a
opportunity.
buffet of all kinds of different topics.
I know Dina talked to me about that one, right? And I didn't have the information on that one, but I've already signed up for phase 1 and 2.
The conference is really important. It's a place where the board starts to gel and work together. So it's, you know, it's really instrumental to see if we get all 16 folks together for that.
So January's.
Can we make sure we get, cause I remember that, not getting that information, when I first joined. I just happened to be involved enough to know about it, but I didn't get anything mailed to me. Can we get the new board members that information?
So, yep.
The
We've already
flyers
sent
or
out
whatever?
We've sent out the phase 1 and phase 2 information.
Yeah, but not the.
And-
Not the conference.
Not the
Right, and we'll
conference
send
stuff,
out the
yeah.
conference piece, and I'm also working to set up individual opportunities to talk to the new board members also, and at that time I will share that with them. So, yep, absolutely, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, let's talk about our upcoming meetings. On December 12th, there's a policy meeting. Did you
No,
guys change that?
that's a work
Changed it?
session.
Okay,
It's,
so we changed that to a work session at 6 o'clock.
Policy meeting, what did you talk, what were you thinking? Like the week before or earlier?
No,
I thought something about the 7th. I see there was notes someplace on
That was
it.
this one.
that was this month.
Okay,
So our policy was set for 5, with the work session set at 6, and so the conversation was, can we still do that? Can we
Oh,
keep policy at 5 and work session at 6?
That's
So
right,
Not
yes.
making any adjustments.
So, yeah, work session's at 6, that's right.
okay. December
Sorry.
17th is our regular board meeting at 6:30. January 2nd, we have a 5 PM policy meeting, committee meeting, and the 7th is a regular board meeting, which time you'll reorganize your leadership. And then the MSBA Leadership Conference in January, 17th and 18th.
The,
Anything else?
the January 2nd policy committee meeting, since.
Yeah,
it's
you may wanna
open,
just-
we want to reschedule that till we establish committees.
Sure, we can pull it for right now. Yep.
Okay.
So cancel that.
Cancel that. Okay, with that, we will adjourn. Thank you.